places you can follow us: on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and now BandLab. You can follow us on BandLab. So this is BandLab 101, and if you have not downloaded yet, definitely do that so you can follow along on your phone, because we're going to do step by step on your phone. If you can get it on your computer, that's great. I'm going to go through some things on the computer, but that's not required. You can actually follow along on your phone at the same time. So just ask your questions, either raise your hand in the Zoom chat or ask the questions on Facebook Live, and these lovely ladies, because I can't do that, they are going to be monitoring your questions and make sure that they get answered. All right, everybody ready? Let's do this. Legal statement. We are not affiliated with BandLab. Okay, guys, what is BandLab and why on earth do we want to use it? First of all, we are using it, Titanium is using it to learn new music with each other. We are doing songs that we know so we can keep working on them. So that we're using songs with a MIDI or learning media and adding those in. We're duetting and trioing parts on BandLab. Recording your part over and over again, just like you would if you were recording on the risers or if you were recording in your rehearsals, and then listening to it and then recording again so that you can improve it. And then once you've got all your 4 parts, you can download it and use it as a rehearsal track, or you can share it on social media if you like. And then the greatest thing about it is that we get to collaborate with each other. I believe that you can collaborate with up to 9 people on one project. Of course, that works great for quartets. So we're going to learn today the basic app functions, how to get in and out. Then we're going to learn how to create a multi-track sound file. You're going to have your lead on a track, your baritone on a track, your bass, your tenor. Everybody's going to get their own track. How to record and how to revise your recordings. How to create a sound file from a MIDI or a learning media file. How to collaborate with others or add people to your project. And then how to share your music on social media. All right, let's go. Let's do it. Okay, guys, if you want to open up your app, right now we're going to walk through the basic app functions. So the phone is the simplest thing to use. It's what I use a lot. I use my iPad a lot. The computer has a little bit more functionality, but we're not even going to go into what the computer does. We're just going to handle what the phone does for the most part. We're going to create projects and open and record. You're going to learn how to toggle between revisions, because you're going to see every single revision that you make, which is a really cool feature of this app. You'll learn how to add, rename, and alter your tracks. We'll even go through a section on the computer, and you can do detailed editing of the tracks, but we're not handling that right now. That is sound engineering, BandLab 201. All right, here we go. Section 1. These are the things we're going to do. So in your BandLab app, on your screen, you are going to click that little plus sign button at the bottom of your screen. That's going to ask you, what kind of project do you want to open? And this time we're going to start with a voice track. So go ahead and click that reddish orange button. And then it's going to open you straight up to what looks like a recording screen. But before we do that, you might want to set up some settings on this track, because if you're singing an uptune and you want to keep in tempo, you might want to set your tempo. You might want to set your key signature, your metronome volume. To turn the metronome on and off, that bottom right-hand button is the one you care about, because if you want to turn it off, you don't want to hear it anymore. If it's white, you won't hear it. If it's green, you will hear it. And then when you're done setting all your settings, you're going to hit that sound wave icon, and you're going to return to the recorder. So now you're back at your recorder and you're ready to record. So just like you would on any other recording device, you're going to hit that red record button. And then you're going to, when you're done, you're going to hit it again. And then you're going to say, okay, what do I want to do with this? Do I want to save this project? You'll hit the cloud in the upper right-hand corner. And then you're going to want to name it. So you're going to type in your name. And when you're done, you're going to hit that check mark. That's going to take you back to the recording screen. You're all done. You're going to hit exit and return to your home screen. So right now, I did it on a live video. We're going to watch that happen. So here's the video. We're going to go ahead and hit that plus sign. Select the voice and mic. Click the settings wheel. Adjust all of your settings, plus or minus on the tempo. Change the key, the tempo signature if you want. If you're doing a ballad, you're probably not going to use a metronome. So you wouldn't even bother with this step, but this is just the basic step. And then I just turned on the metronome with that green button at the bottom right-hand corner. And then you're going to hit that sound wave icon to return to your recorder. So you can hear the metronome going. When you're done, you're going to save the project. Hit the cloud, click save, name your project, hit the check mark, and then exit if you're done. Okay, so when you're just recording for the first time, I am the pitch blower, and I like to lay down the pitch first. I like to give it its own track, because you'll find out later you may want to turn down other tracks, so you always want to have the track, the pitch as its own track. So that way it's there for everybody. Everybody's going to need it. If you are recording an uptune, you might want to use the metronome, which we just set up. And when you're recording, this is the most important thing of all. Use headphones, because whatever the recording hears, it will record. So if it hears the metronome, if it hears any other tracks, it's going to record it. So recording with headphones is critical. Then hold the microphone. If we've noticed a difference between having the microphone either away from our faces or not using a microphone. And normally, all the headsets have the microphone on them. So just hold it to your mouth, but don't touch it, obviously. Okay, so that was section 1. Before we go anywhere, do we have any questions?
Did you want to address, because I've already had the question about laying down a piano keyboard track. Are you addressing the importing tracks later?
Address importing tracks and MIDI later.
I have a question from Andy Giles that says, when you set the key signature, what does that do for you? Sorry, probably a dumb question. Not a dumb question, Andy.
You know, I actually don't know yet. I don't know enough about it, but I have, when I've gone in to change the key signature later, it says, do you want to adjust all the other previous tracks? And it freaks me out. So I figured I'm going to set it in advance. And we haven't ever really messed with it. So I would say.
We don't know if it does any pitch correcting. We haven't tried anything like that, so we have no idea if it does that yet.
But there you go. You can if you want to.
We'll have to give it a shot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so from Abby, also, if you're using your phone, she's asking, how can you use your microphone and your headphones? Do you need additional equipment? Abby, a lot of the headphones that she's referencing are the ones that come with the little microphone attached. So if you don't have those, you can get them pretty inexpensive. The ones that Lindsay is demonstrating as we speak, that has a microphone with it. I got mine at Office Depot for like $10. So you don't have to spend a lot of money. Yeah.
I got mine for like 15.
So they're pretty affordable. Those are the ones that we recommend. You don't necessarily have to have a whole studio set up like with a separate microphone and all of that business.
You definitely don't have to have special microphone. We've discovered we love our sound engineer, and we love our Steve Mark did a fantastic job with our CD, and we are not taking his job anytime soon.
Right. And Carrie, we don't know if it lets you transpose the whole track up or down later on. We haven't really, to be honest, we haven't delved far enough into it just yet for those tips and tricks. We were just so excited to find something that we could put everything together in one place on and continue to work, that we wanted to make sure and share it with everyone. And so if someone discovers that, feel free, let us know.
And the biggest thing so far that we've noticed is we get to sing with our other quartet members. So I'm not only singing with a learning track, I'm not only singing with a MIDI if that's what I've got to learn new music. So we can use it to learn new music and lay down bits of our own part. And then when the other three get in there, we're actually getting to sing with each other and see where we can make it better. That's where we found a huge value in this, is getting to sing with the actual voices in my quartet, not just my learning media or just something else. So it's
Bonnie has a saying, I can do it with, what do you say? I can do it
by myself. It goes to the chicken dance song. I can do it by myself. I can do it by myself, but not with you. This lets me do it with you and get that out.
Yes. And then, so I've got a problem section on a new song that we're working on because it has a really tricky tempo. And so we have a click going on the track. And I have recorded the front half of the song and I recorded the back half of the song. I just left that little section out because I'm still working on it. So we'll get to that. You'll learn all that, but that's what we like about BandLab so far. Are we good with questions? Should we move on?
I'm going to address one more thing that Christy asked, which was about using the microphone. If you're using it on the headphones, you don't necessarily, it works better if you hold it up a bit. You don't want to leave it dangling because that can, you know, you sound too far away, but you don't have to put it right up to your face because that can cause distortion. So just, you know, what a normal, like if you were recording at chorus, you know, whatever the normal distance from your mouth would be. Because you don't want it to cause distortion. And, you know, the beauty of this is you can go back and re-record, you know, and redo your tracks, which Holly will cover here shortly. Carry on.
And off we go. Okay. So now you're going to learn how to add more than one track to your recording, because you want to have yourself in one track, and then you want to have your quartet members or any other people that you're singing with have their own track so they can edit and revise and trash it if they want to do whatever. So these are the things we're going to do in this section. So let's get started. So back in your home screen, this time you're going to click that bottom right hand corner icon, which looks like a little folder with a musical note in it. And once you get here, you're going to find that project that you hopefully just created, and you're going to click on it. So go ahead and click on your project. If you haven't, then you got to go back and create a new one. Go back to the plus sign back on your home screen. So we have multiple revisions in our projects already. So you might find that you have a string of revisions in a single tree, or you might have a branch because Holly might have gone in and was working on something at the same time as Melody and didn't tell her. And so Melody made a revision off of revision 2 and I made revision 3. And then you have to decide which revision you're going to use because somebody didn't communicate with somebody else. So that's why you see this tree. But the main thing you want to do is find the revision, the latest revision. And then, so you might swipe either or go to that lock icons. You're going to swipe left or right, get your latest revision, and then click the open button in the bottom right hand corner. And then you're going to want to open it in Mix Editor. We have done nothing with Video Mix. So when it opens up, you're going to see the track that was already created. So to make sure that you're at the beginning of the track, the marker, the white marker, the line down the middle, stays in the same place. It doesn't move. So your screen, the blue, the track is going to move left or right. So make sure that you scroll it back to the beginning of the track. Turn on the metronome if needed. And now you're going to open up the track editor either by sliding that gray bar to the right, or you can hit the equalizer icon at the bottom left-hand corner of the screen. Both of them do the same thing. And that's going to show you your list of tracks. To keep yourself sane, you want to rename your tracks. So in this case, we're going to click those 3 dots at the upper right-hand corner, which opens up your dialog, and you're going to click rename. And then a dialog box will open and you can type in the name. So we call this the pitch. Here's someone singing.
I do too.
So now that you have renamed that track, click that plus mark because we're going to add a new track. And in this case, we're going to do a voice track. And it opens up that record screen. And if you're ready to record, just record and go. Just hit record and get started. Of course, you have your headphones in because you already have another track going. If, let's say, you don't want to record from the beginning, you would hit the play button and it's just going to play but not do any recording. And then as you're approaching the section you want to record, you hit the record button and record your section. When you're done recording, you've hit the record button again to stop recording. You just hit that little caron to return to the list of tracks. You can click undo and undo your latest take if you didn't like it. Let's see. You might want to rename your track before you leave. You can save as you go using clicking the cloud button, or you can just exit. So Connie, did you want to tell your story about making a recording and
Sure.
running away?
So I was trying to, I was going to make my track. And so I clicked record, and all of a sudden at the top, I realized it is Holly's track and it is recording silence over Holly's track. And I was like, ah! So I stopped it and I exited without saving. There are other ways to do it. But that was, I knew as long as I didn't save over it, we should be in good shape. But I had a little freak out moment because I thought I was recording over whatever Holly had already laid down. It wasn't that big of a deal, so don't let it freak you out. Just know that if you're recording something, just don't save it, and then it'll be fine.
Right, so you can always exit and you can always hit undo, but if you're not sure how many times because every undo is one action, you can always just exit, just get out. All right, so let's say that you've recorded a second track, you're happy with that second track, you're out of here, you want to exit. You could choose to save or discard, but let's say you're happy with it, so you go ahead and save it. So that's going to save it as another revision. So here we are live on my phone, and watch me go. Watch me do what we just did. So you're going to hit that folder icon, select that project, opens up the revisions. You're going to swipe left or right, or select the latest revision by clicking on the lock icon. Open it in the mix editor. Make sure your track is at the beginning. See how the marker stays in the middle? Look, swipe to the right so you can get the track editor. You can rename a track if you'd like. And then click that plus mark, hit the mic or voice mic section, and then record.
So that's the trick, is you have to start a new one.
Correct. You have to create a new track or else you will be recording over somebody else's. So here's at this point, I hit record and I do not have the headphones in, so you're listening to our recording. But just to
the world hear the song that we're singing.
now I'm going to stop it. I'm just going to play.
Well, come on, get
Nothing is
happy.
recording.
Wah, ba, ba, da. Oh, lighter love in his word will be bringing.
So I hit undo because I didn't like it. I'm zooming back and forth.
Song that we're singing. Well, come on, get happy. Wah, ba, ba, da.
So you can see in this particular example, I did all those things that I told you about, that I can just play the track and then record as needed, or I can go back and start over again and play and then record. You hit record, you'll see it's a red circle. If you hit, and then it's a stop, the square when you're done. I'm going to go ahead and start it back up again. When you're done, hit that Karen in the upper right-hand corner. It takes you back to your tracks. You want to rename it so everybody knows it was yours. And I'm done. I'm happy with it. So I'm going to hit that exit button and I'm going to save it because I liked it. And that is creating a multi-track sound file. Always use headphones. We talked about that before. I can't stress that enough. If you're using Bluetooth headphones, you're going to get a lag. It's going to be behind any other track. And the only way to do that, I'll show you later, is to take the whole track and move it forward. So basically, I would not use Bluetooth headphones. It's kind of a pain.
But if that's all you have, it is a workaround, because that's all I have. So you can work around it. You just have to make the adjustments in the computer.
Yes. You can, so we'll cover this in the next section, but you can use that mix editor to change the volume and the stereo, play either left or right settings to hear only the tracks you want. So if, let's say everybody's laid down their tracks and I want to duet with Melody, I would turn Connie and Lindsay all the way down and just listen and sing along with Melody. Or if I wanted to hear, somebody in the right ear and somebody else in the left ear, I would do that. So that's the beauty of that mix editor. It's really awesome. And then same thing, you can turn that metronome on and off if you decide to use it.
Holly, once you set those settings, do they stay that way until you change them again? So then if I got in after you, those settings might be, or if I
It will always be saved for the project unless someone changes them.
Okay, so just know that if you get in there and things don't sound right, you can go back and check those settings on that, and some of those tracks might be turned up or down, and you can change those. I didn't know if it was login specific or if it was project specific.
It is revision specific.
Ah, okay.
So if I leave and I save it, and I've turned, because I've noticed this when I get in, that somebody has turned somebody up and everybody else down, it's saved that way. It was Lindsay.
Well, because I've been in work when I was recording and I'm like, why can't I hear Melody? Like, she's not playing at all. And then the other day I got in, I was like, wow, we recorded a chorus, and I realized the learning track was still playing along with everybody else. It sounded huge. So
There was also a really great question that I don't think we addressed earlier, which was, does everyone have the same login on the account? So that was a great question. So my answer to the person who asked, and I can't get to the name right now,
Liz Miller.
So we created an account, for the quartet, under the quartet name, and then each individual.
Because we have an email.
Correct.
Yes.
But you can set it up under any email if you don't have a quartet email, or however you want to do it. But we set it up as a quartet account and then invited each part as a collaborator. And that way each individual, you're just going into the same projects. I don't know that that's necessarily required because you can invite anybody as a collaborator. Like when we were first learning this, I set one up for myself, Holly set one up for herself, and then you can just invite collaborators to whatever. So we just found it easier to manage as far as keeping track, pardon the pun, of what was a quartet thing, that it was all like, you know, you have one place to go back to.
Well, the other thing too is by signing in as the quartet and letting the quartet be the parent, is that we all know the password, so that if somebody's not available, we all know how to get in, and we can go in and change the things that need to be changed.
Right.
Wait for the owner of it to actually go in and do it. There's a question on Facebook too, that says, so you guys are all sharing an account and going in and out rather than working from your own account and sending files. Yes, we actually have Titanium as the parent, if you will, and then we are each going in with our own accounts. But we also try and let each other know at the same time, like, hey, I'm in there, don't go in and play around on this project. Because we have multiple projects going at the same time. So you want to make sure that if you're collaborating with anybody, let them know when you're in, so that, as Holly mentioned before, you don't get any of those little branches coming off the recording tree. And also just for us, it's, hey, and you get notifications, right? Like there's a new revision in there, so you can see when a new revision is done, but you can't go in and see when somebody's actually working on it.
Right.
So we want to make sure that, but each of us has our own account.
Right.
And we've
part of
followed each other on BandLab to be able to collaborate with each other too.
And part of the beauty of that is we're not having to send or upload files. We're recording directly into this app, and that's where everything is stored. So there's no uploading or downloading bandwidth issues. We're using the app directly, and so that's really handy.
Right. And in a lot of our cases right now, like we've gotten some new music that we've only gotten MIDI files for. So this, what's being helpful to us on this, and Holly will cover this in a minute, is uploading. We can upload our MIDI tracks and sing along with MIDI, so that we know that we're all singing in the same rhythm. While it is possible, I think, because as we're talking about this, I'm like, we probably could like record on our own thing. Like if something happened and we couldn't get into the quartet account for some reason, you record on your own thing and then upload it to whatever project. While that probably could happen, you may not be aligned with the tempo and all of that with what's already established. So if you, I don't remember where I was going with this, but anyway, what's helping us is being able to create a vocal learning track from a MIDI track. Because if y'all are anything like me, I do a lot of my learning. Well, I did do a lot of my learning in the car. That was when I spent a lot more time in the car. I haven't been in my car much lately, but it's helpful. You know, you can't read your sheet music and listen to your tracks while you're driving. So this is very helpful, and it avoids accidents.
Lindsay mentioned we're using the quartet as kind of the parent account. Basically, the quartet login is where we begin a project. So it's the owner of the project, and then the four of us are collaborators on the project, so that it stays at that level and we're all adding to, rather than any one of us owning it and everybody having to revise on that. So we let the quartet sign in, be the owner and originator of the projects, and then we collaborate with it.
And we use like I said, we use the quartet login to put the pitch in, and then also put the learning track in if we're using one for that recording to sing against. So it makes it easier to not have another login on top, or have Holly be the pitch pipe and this, and then her own track. It allows us to have, you know, those different tracks and have the person recording be different at the same time.
All right, should we go on?
Sure.
Let's do this. Okay, so we keep talking about using tracks and importing those tracks so we can sing along with it. And this is one of my favorite features of BandLab. So you're going to learn how to import tracks on your phone and then time shift the tracks. A lot of our tracks don't have pitches on them, and even if they did, there's going to come a point when you want to turn down all the tracks except for your vocals. And you're going to want to leave the track, the pitch at the beginning of your recording. So you're going to want to time shift all your tracks to allow for a pitch. And then I don't use my phone to save my learning media. And so I'm going to show you how to use your computer. This is, again, why we use Titanium as the parent, because I can get in on there on my computer. Whoever has it can, upload all the tracks onto the new project that we're starting. So if you're doing this in your phone, you're going to hit the plus sign. This is for a new project. This is assuming that you haven't started this project already. And then you're going to swipe to the right and import a track. This, again, assuming you have your stuff on your phone. If you keep it in your music library, or you got to browse your folders. I actually went to my phone and downloaded a couple tracks to my phone so I could show you how this works, because I don't normally do that. Then I open up that folder of downloads. And here's the tracks I downloaded. So I'm going to go ahead and click on my track I want to import, and it drops it in at 0. And so to make room for a pitch, you're going to click on it, which is going to give it kind of a white border. And then when you click on it and just drag it to the right, this button on the upper left-hand corner that says snap, that's going to snap you to 1/4 of a second, which is kind of nice. It's going to snap you straight to the beats in the time. And so you're going to move it out to the 2. And then click anywhere, and that'll go anywhere. So the snap, you can see, is going to help you to do that. So here's the video of doing this. So create your new project, swipe to import track, open the folder, click on your track. It's going to import. Click on the sound wave track itself. You can see it kind of moves in chunks. Now I'm going to click on the snap and make it go away. Now it's going to move smoothly with no chunks. You definitely want to have that snap on. And then click anywhere to deselect, which I think takes me like 5 minutes to deselect. Okay, that was it. That's how easy that is. Are we good? Do we have any questions in that section? That was a quick section.
There was a question from Beth. How long do you generally allow for the pitch?
Just like you would if you were performing the song. So I normally blow it. So I open it up, I hit record, I blow on my pitch like I normally would, and then I turn it off. And so whoever does the first recording, well, if you set up the tracks, I just they make sure that that spacing feels natural, just like it would if you were singing it in a performance. Good question.
And so far it has. Like, she'll blow the pitch, and then you've got time to take your first breath and sing. So it's been really cool.
Kelly, there's a Go ahead, Lindsay.
There's a comment on Facebook that says there's no snap on their phone, on their screen.
There's no snap in the app? There's no snap in the app? Where's BandLab? Where are you, BandLab?
And that little green thing, right? In the upper left corner?
Yeah. It should absolutely be there. I don't know why it wouldn't be there. I'm in my app right now just to see.
It's on mine. It's in
Yeah,
the,
it's right above the first track and under the exit button.
you have to be in your mix editor to see it. the mix editor that looks like this, or however many tracks you've got in yours, rather than, I don't know that it's there. Is it there for the initial? I guess maybe it is. Should be the very first recording.
It may be Android or Apple specific, because Rebecca Grimmer says that she's on an Android and hers doesn't have it either.
Huh.
We're all users in our quartet, so.
We're also not endorsed by Mac, but we wouldn't turn it down.
So maybe it's not present in the Android app?
Right, it's what it looks like. And then Carol Ward wants to see the time shift one more time.
Okay. Do you want to? I'll run the video one more time. Okay, here it comes. Click on it. Click and drag. You're pressing on it and moving it.
So Joanne Oliver says Snap is a setting, but not visible on her Android either. So it may just be a setting thing. Maybe you have to turn it on, but you can still drag, like she was just showing, when it's framed in that white border. You can drag it to the next wherever you need it to go at any point.
So we're gonna get ready to go to the computer. If you don't have Snap on your phone, it's gonna make your life a little difficult. So you might want to use the computer to set up your tracks. That's my advice. Any other questions right now before we go into the next section? You guys got them all? We're good?
So far.
We
Okay.
just had one come in that said, would you ladies be willing to share tracks to a royalty-free public domain song of your choice so we quartet members could use BandLab to record and create a very large quartet VLQ of our own just for fun? That's something we could certainly discuss. So I didn't want it to get by without answering that question, and I'll make a note of it and we'll talk about it and see what we can come up with.
Yeah. And since it's come up a couple of times on the screen, just as an FYI, although the vocal recording part is collaborative, the video thing unfortunately is not, because we looked at that as a possible option to the acapella app, and it's not, it doesn't allow more than one person to do a video. So sad face, we're stuck with 30 seconds in the in the acapella app, unless you want to pay $10 a month on that.
All right, I think we're ready to go to go away. Okay, yes. So this is where I'm going over to my computer. And we're going to do it right in the app itself. So if you're on the computer, you're going to hit that create button in the upper right hand corner. This is if we're creating a brand new project. We're going to import our audio, and that's fine. I guess we can use this one. It's the one that I've got loaded up. So I would probably use tenor predominant, and it's going to drop in. I'm going to go ahead and move it over. In the computer, I don't know exactly where to turn off and on the snap on this one, but because I like the snap, that doesn't really make much difference to me. Then you're just going to you could rename this because it's hard to see. I like to do that. I like to rename and just go tenor, because Connie's going to put her own name on her own track. So I like to change the learning track to say the part that is. And we're going to add another track. Same thing, audio MIDI. We're going to add the lead predominant this time. Slide it over. That white line helps you line up with any other tracks. Good old rename. So on and so forth. So Goodness, I did not mean to do that. I'm following along on my iPad, so I want to make sure I'm doing the right thing. You're going to want to add your pitch. So you might add that in your computer. You might add that on your phone. So you could do voice mic there and add your pitch. And then if you are recording from a computer, here's some fun things about the computer. So you'll see this on your phone as well. If you wanted to sing along and you just want to hear a little bit of the lead, but you want to hear a lot of the tenor, you could do it that way. Or you could say, you know what, I'm going to put the lead in the left ear and I'm going to put the tenor in the right ear. See, it's not an exact science. It is, oh, don't move. It's tricky, isn't it? There it is. All right, tenor's in the right ear. Just so you, and you can also change it from, you can mute it, you can play, I guess you can play it by itself if you wanted to. That's what the M and S are. So whatever settings you leave when you save to get out of here, that's what your team members are going to see. So if I go in and I go, oh, I'm not happy with this, I'm going to hear everybody at the same time, I go and adjust these so that they're all the same volume. Then let's say that I'm ready to record. I would add a track, voice mic. I'm going to rename it because I'm going to sing along. If I accidentally have another track highlighted, I'm going to record over it on accident. So always make sure you have highlighted your track. In the phone, you actually have to click these 3 buttons and say move up or move down. But in the computer, now it won't let me move it. There it is. I can move it up if I want to move it up. But that's only if you're a baritone. Don't laugh at me, Melody.
If you do happen to record over it, just don't save. If you happen to notice that you recorded anything over an existing track and that was a mistake, just back out, back away, don't save. That's your undo, and everything's okay.
Yeah. And I would say if you're dropping in tracks, you don't even need to worry about the metronome, the time signature, or the key signature. None of that matters. But you can play straight from here. You can take your track and your track marker and move it and do all sorts of fun things. BandLab 201.
You have the option to rename it after you've recorded as well. On the phone, I don't know how to do it on the computer, but on the phone you do, because for the longest time I was known as track 4. You can go back in and rename it after you've saved it and like that track. So.
Okay. So I'm going to go back to my slideshow.
Hello, all you pretty faces that are on there.
Hey, faces. Okay, why isn't my slideshow moving? There we go. So I did still shots of all of those things we just did, so that when this is saved as a PDF, everyone will get to see it. Okay. Do we have questions in this round?
Facebook has a question from Michelle. If you're recording on a laptop, should you use a separate mic?
I would.
Yeah, I would too.
Even if you have to plug your headphones in and use the headphones, your ear jack, whatever.
Yeah, otherwise it's going to sound like you're in a tin can. Yes. Yep. Amanda, the slideshow will be available. Everything is going to be recorded. Everything's available. Let me start over. We are recording this session, including that lovely little thing. And we will be posting this to our YouTube channel, as well as making the PowerPoint available separately as a PDF that you can download.
Okay, so let's say that you've already recorded your part once, or you've recorded a portion of it and you're ready to go back in and re-record. Try a spot over that you think you can do better, or Maybe you didn't sing the middle part of a song because you were having problems with the tempo. I don't know. This is what you're going to do. So before you start, do all the things. Use your wired headphones for sure. Make sure your marker is at the beginning of the track. Make sure your particular track is selected, the one that you plan to record over. Turn on the metronome if you need it, and adjust all of the tracks that you're singing along with to your liking, and then make sure your track volume is turned up. So you're in the recording screen. You've gone into your project. You've opened it up. You are going to select your track, and then you're just going to press play. And I recommend that you sing along with yourself, because while you're recording, you can just hit that record button. And then it's a seamless transition because you've already been singing with yourself. So you hit the play button, then you hit the record. When you hit record again to stop recording, it's actually going to stop the whole playback, everything. So if you want to keep recording later in the song, you just hit the play again. Or if you don't want to sing along, you can swipe your tracks, the time marker, forward in the song. So that was super easy, right? That was a really easy task. Just make sure that you've selected your track. Press the play and sing along, and then press record when you're ready. You'll need to press play again to continue listening. If you don't like it, hit undo. So this is what we're talking about, the added bonus. Whether you're recording or not, you can change those settings in the track editor so that you can duet with other parts. So if you want to duet or you want a trio, you just turn the volume controls up and down. And then you can always re-record. You can completely remove the track and start over, whatever it is that you want to do. So this is, we talked about this earlier, make sure you only save when you mean to save. If you're going in and you're just duetting and you're just practicing and you have no intention of saving your work, and you know somebody else is in the project, when you exit, just hit discard. This is why you have branches in your revision tree, and you have to decide which branch you want to use.
Yeah, once you notice that branch, because that's how we're discovering these things, is trial and error. And we discovered that branch on something that we'd not seen it before. And so we were like, okay, what is this? And so you listen to that one, and then you go back and listen to the other one, and you can kind of compare the recording times and see, okay, which one are we keeping? Are we going to move forward from the branch? So if that's a better recording, you can move forward with any additional revisions from there. Or if the other one is a better recording, go back and re-record with the original, tree or whatever, and it'll just keep going up from there. But whichever one you decide on, that's where your project will move up from, if that makes sense. Any additional changes that you have.
Okay. Ready? Are we ready for the next one?
Sure.
Awesome. Okay, now you're going to add quartet members to your project. This is how you get to sing with each other. So this time from your main feed, you're going to click on the little compass icon. And then in the search bar, you're going to type your friend's name. Assume that they've already joined and you've spoken with one another and you know each other's BandLab handle. So you would just go in there and type it in with the @sign. So that's my handle if you want to find me. I don't do anything, so you're not following much. But you're going to click on the follow button.
You're ready to be bored, follow all of us.
And then, so now you're a friend. Now it's like you've added, hey, I have a follower. I just got a notification. So now you go back to your to the project screen, the folder with the music notes in it, and you'll see all your projects. And you click on the 3 dots, and you would invite collaborators to your project. Then if they're already in your contacts, you just click on their bubble, or you type their username, their handle into the to field. And then it'll tell you that it is sent. It sent the invitation. Now this screen is where Melody sent me an invitation. So BandLab is going to say you have a notification. It might, if you have your notifications on, it's going to say you have one, but when you open it up, it doesn't tell you that you have a notification. So you actually have to go to it. You have to click on the little bell and then click on invites, and then you have to accept the notification. So just make sure that you do that to accept the collaboration. So here's how it works. Go to the compass, you type in name. There's Melody's handle. Now everybody can ask you 7464. You click the follow button.
That's not my birthday.
No, it's not.
Apparently Melody started following me now.
I am. Because I thought, how am I following now? I don't even know.
Invite those collaborators, click on the buttons, click on them. Invitation sent. That's it. You can actually uninvite somebody if you want. You can go to your projects and cancel the invitation. I figured that out later. All right, do we work mostly in the phone? Oh, you answered that question, Connie.
Can you, once you've invited somebody and they have accepted it, can you kick them out?
That's a good question. I think you can. I think you can remove collaborators. I would say for sure.
Connie looks about to go try.
I don't want to get removed. But if you use the Quartet email for it, if you had to remove someone because someone moved far away or something like that, then me either. But that would be a possibility.
There was an earlier question that it was a private question, so I wanted to share it, which was really good because I never thought about this, which is there a maximum length that the tracks you import have to be? And my answer to her, and tell me if I'm wrong, but I haven't found that there is a maximum length necessarily, although obviously the longer that anything that you import, the longer it is, the more memory it takes, so the longer it's going to take for it to upload and download and all the things. Occasionally, because we do so much on our phones with the recording and such, one of the things that's helped me the most is sometimes I have to just completely exit out of the app and then go back into it. Unfortunately, Bonnie, though, no, you cannot delete branches or tracks. We've tried that. We've not found a way to delete them, but Andy Giles says she volunteers as a tribute. We can invite her to collab and then kick her out. Thanks for taking a bullet. But no, we've tried to condense certain recordings, like if we've had a branch and we didn't want it, just to keep down confusion, but you haven't found a way yet to delete those.
You can delete a track. If you lay your own track down and you don't like it, you can delete that and start over, or you can record over it.
Yes.
But the revisions, we haven't found a way to get rid of a revision. You just make changes in the new revision.
Yes.
So not to confuse the issue, but we have a song that has 2 verses, 2 choruses, a bridge, and a tag, and we wanted to take out a chorus and a verse. And I was able to do that. I took our learning media and I dumped it in, and I was able to cut it out. I'm still working on it to tell you how long that takes, but it's possible. If you wanted to edit your learning media, you could do it. but that's not covered in this class.
No, we're kind of we've gotten to be really good editors of our music, and if we run across something that's not working, 9 times out of 10 it's like, well, that's not working, let's just toss it. Anybody that's familiar with Cuddle Up and saw it from the very first time that we did it to the last time that we did it knows the certain section that just keeps getting shorter in the middle of that song, because it's just like, oh, well, that's not tuning. Maybe we should just not sing those words. And so if you have someone new join you, or you want to share it, or you're, updating or something like that, you want to edit your learning media, it's also helpful for section leaders. You don't have to be in a quartet. If you're a section leader and you've got learning media and you want to try and make these edits like this and not have to go to a recording studio or whatever, try your hand at it. You can always just kind of back out and undo. You don't have to save it.
Yeah.
Sorry, this is me. It's also good for small choruses. So I direct a small men's chorus of around 20 guys, or just under 20 guys. And this is one of the tools that we are going to use moving forward in sections. So because you have a maximum number of collaborators that you can use, my biggest section is 8 guys. And so I'm going to ask them to collaborate with the section leader going in and laying down the track for their section, and then each of them going and collaborate to see, is the section singing all the same notes all at the same time? And do a check just in a section rather than having the whole chorus. But it's a good tool for sections and stuff. If you have a smaller chorus and have the right number of collaborators or maximum number of collaborators, you can use that as a tool. Or sometimes for newbies in a chorus who may be struggling a little bit, you can have their section leader lay down a track and they can go in and record along with it and listen to it and sing along to see how they're moving along, either before or even after their audition. It could be a good tool to use for the audition process for anybody coming in. So
Great ideas, Lindsay. I love that. Shall we move on?
What? There's more?
There's a question in the chat about MP3s, but I didn't pull up the whole question.
Oh, do I need to load MP3 files in a specific location on the phone for BandLab to find them?
In my experience, absolutely. I could not get to Drive, but I could get to Dropbox if that's where you keep your folders, your files. So because we use Drive, I had to download the file I wanted to use to my phone, to my saved file, I think it was called. It might have been called Documents. I don't remember. Hold on, I'm gonna scroll back through my things and see if I can find it. Oh, that's an old PowerPoint. Never mind. I can't answer that question. But yes, you have to save it to.
Jenny says she was able to grab sound files out of her iTunes music folders with no problem. And Beth says she goes to got it from her OneDrive on her phone, on her iPhone. So whichever, whatever storage option that you use, yes, what she said.
Yes.
To there.
Yes, and if you have your music in iTunes, it's easy to get to, but I don't have mine in iTunes, so. Okay, let's do this. All right, so let's say everybody's gone in, everybody's collaborated, you've re-recorded, you're pretty happy with it, it's great. What are you going to do with it? So the first thing you can do is assuming that nobody has messed with your levels or your stereo right or left, you can actually just play the recording from the app without opening the mix editor and just play it like it is. And that's when you go to the project and you click on the project before you get to the open the mix editor. You can re-record and improve your part. In the mix editor, we talked about this, you can change your volumes on the different tracks to duet or trio. And you can export a full mix track for rehearsal purposes or if you wanted to share it on social media. And I actually recently saw, and I don't know who it was now that I think about it, but she did a section of Tim Shell. Do you guys remember this? I heard it on Facebook. She had shared, and it looked like it straight out of BandLab, and so she must have exported it straight out of BandLab. So in order to do that, we're going, so now we're going to export. You would open up your project, but before you get to the mix editor, you're going to click on that gray arrow in the bottom left-hand corner. Hillary Clifton dragged from her iTunes. Awesome.
And just, Holly, before you go on, so when I go in, because there are 4 of us collaborating in all of our projects, I always go into the mix editor first just to check the volumes that all the tracks are on. It just may be a step, it's an extra step, but just to make sure that everything is where you need it to be. It's easy to go in and just check the levels really quickly. So
that's actually true. Before you export your project, you 100% want to make sure your levels are right. Good point. Then click download. This is the easiest way to do it. You're going to download as audio, and then you're going to decide what to do with it. You could text it to someone. You could save it to your files. You could save it to Drive, Dropbox. Apparently, you can save it to Snapchat.
Apparently, you can also edit out the pictures of people you don't want to show. Solve the problem.
You can solve it in the screenshots, but you can't solve it in the video.
That's true. Oh, that's funny.
So here's the video of me doing this. Click open the project. Click the gray arrow. Download. Audio. Save it. Save where to send it. All these different places you can save it. Or you can just, I think I saved it. Oh, I think I saved it to Dropbox. Okay, so these are all the things we just talked about and things you should be able to do or at least work on doing. That's a lot of stuff. I think that's it. So we're going to make a PDF of the PowerPoint. We're going to have this recording available so that you can watch it. If you have questions, you should message us or email us, either one. And I think that's it. We're done.
Can you exit out of your full screen so I can get a
Fine, fine.
Just want to get a picture of all the peoples.
Hi, people.
One moment so that I can close. Manage participant.
I'm ready.
I'm not.
Becca, turn on your video. Oh, she might be gone.
she was
saw her.
watching earlier.
Okay, there's one.
I'm there twice.
Okay. There's
Oh, Andy Giles figured out what the key change does.
Oh, yay. So what does it do?
I'm there with us.
Okay, I think I got pictures of both pages. I don't know if I got faces in both pages, but we'll post it.
Tag yourself.
So,
Yes.
oh, someone said hi to me. So I messed around because after I saw your guys' event, I went and downloaded the app right away. I was like, oh, this is so cool. And so I did the Tim Show thing that you were talking about, Holly.
That was you.
Yes, that was me. Thank you. You're fantastic. Anyway, so I went and messed with it as I was watching this, and the default key signature is in C, so I adjusted it and it just puts it in a different key. So like if you're singing a song, for example, in your quartet or chorus, and you're like, I wonder what this would sound like a half step up or lower,
So it does adjust.
You can adjust that. And
Wow.
then again, like if you decide you don't like it, you can just go ahead and exit and it'll default back into the key you were set in. So that was
That's a game changer.
yeah, I switched it like to like I think it was like B minor or like somewhere up in like the last highest one possible, and I sounded like a chipmunk. But it was so funny. It was cool.
That'll be very useful for us because there's times where we're just like, this key's not working. What does it sound like in this other key? Rather than hurt ourselves.
You can do it with the
exactly.
track too, because I figured out how to import a track, and so I did it, and I listened to the track, and I was like, what would this sound in this key? So I adjusted it, and it works with the tracks too. So if you want to adjust the tracks lower or higher, you can
That's
do that.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Did you just highlight a track and change just that track? Is that what you're saying, Andy?
Yeah.
Well, can you just change it one track, or are you changing every track?
No, it does it like it defaults to, I think. Well, I didn't try it with like multiple actually, yeah, because when I adjusted the Tim Shell tag that I did, it changed it for all of the tracks. So it brought like the whole thing, and the whole thing was like a half step lower or higher or whatever.
Yeah, so Michelle Burns has just said, and I'm not an instruction reader. I'm a play with it. And so she said that there's a bunch of like tutorials and instructions on BandLab's website, and there definitely are. If you are one of those kinds of people, do that.
And also go and like BandLab on Facebook as well.
Yeah. And they'll wonder, why are we getting this influx of all these women? And we'll show them. And then maybe they'll make their video part multiply collaborative rather than just one person.
They need to make their video mixer a multi-screen.
Yeah. Because who wants to pay $10 a month for a acapella app? Not me. I don't know when my first unemployment check's coming, so not me. Any other burning questions about any other things before we sign off for the evening?
Melody, you were gonna play something, and you never played any of our songs.
What was I gonna play?
Don't know. You said you were gonna play something that I want something something that we have sung.
I was gonna say the only thing we have all four in right now, I think, is "Come On Get Happy."
No, I didn't think it was coming from BandLab. It's okay.
I don't recall. I've slept a little bit since we first talked about that.
No, this was at the beginning of the chat. It's okay.
I dozed off. No, I was busy. But we can. I don't know where I would play it from. We talked about.
Carrie asked if we tried other apps, and the answer is no. We tried Acapella, the video app that everybody's been using, and the free version is a max of 30 seconds, and it didn't do what we wanted to do anyway. I personally have heard the GarageBand is a similar app, but I happened to find BandLab first, and I don't know. I think I went on iPhone and I was like multi-track recorder. I searched, and this came up first, and I just started playing with it, and I was like, oh, it's easy. It makes sense. I don't have to read instructions. Let's do it.
And I think GarageBand may be proprietary to Apple anyway. So if you don't
might be right.
Yeah, because that was something that came standard with my phone. So if you don't have an iPhone or a Mac, you may be out of luck with GarageBand anyway. It's cool, but yeah, and Danielle Figueroa says GarageBand is very similar, but no collaboration as far as she knows. So
we got lucky.
Yeah, we got very lucky. So yeah.
We have a baritone who likes to go and search things out, and she's like, hey guys, I found this, let's try it. And we're like, okay. If most of us don't have to think, I think that's the way we roll as a quartet. Holly's like, hey, try this.
We're in favor of letting the baritone do the thinking and then just going on from there, and that seems to work for us right now. So we're happy to let her.
Well, and part of that is because, as she said, she likes to go and play and likes to, so she'll go and do her research. And the first time we heard about BandLab, she's like, okay, so I found this thing and I've been playing a little bit. And so, okay, here's what we can do. And here's what we're going to, and she came in and she's already like, you know, go here, now go. And so much of what we did tonight was all the research Holly did before bringing it to the quartet. And then the basic stuff that she learned. And then we've been trying to discover stuff together as we've delved a little further into BandLab. But for me, this is the tool that has worked probably the best for all the stuff that we've been doing. We had Michelle asked if we had used the acapella app aside from the cost. Do you like it? Because we found BandLab, and for us, the priority right now is learning new music and learning music for this year. Our priority has been, how do we continue on our learning track that we were on before we all had to stay at home. So the priority for us, yeah, we love playing in the acapella app with the 30 seconds, but the priority has been, how do we continue to enhance what we were doing and also continue, because we still have shows that are on the books right now for the fall if everything is lifted. And so we can't just go, oh, hey, it's June, maybe we should kind of look at that now. This is our way of continuing on the learning process while we all can't get together in person.
Yep.
Yeah.
Christy Hedrick has her hand up.
I was just going to say that our quartet has been using acapella for the last couple of weeks, and I think that this is much more efficient for what we're using acapella for. Unless you're going to be producing a video that you want to post onto social media, the acapella app really isn't cost effective. Even at the yearly rate of like $50 a year, it's still an expense that every member of the quartet has to do. So if you're not going to be posting videos to social media, it's kind of pointless, because we found that we're not even looking at ourselves. We're holding the phone off to the side, you know, it's up your nose or whatever, because all you're trying to really do is to get tracks to lay over top of each other to have a learning track. So it's really not, it's not really worth it. This is much more effective.
Cool.
I
Awesome.
did notice, though, I missed the visual cue of when to start. I had to start 6 or 8 times because I realized how much I rely on that visual cue. We're going to breathe and sing. So it takes some getting used to. Just know that going in, and it's okay. Just start over until you feel good with it. But
do you know who you can hear breathing before she starts singing? And so if you sing with her track, Melody. I have to sing with Melody's track, so that's like, and we're starting.
So one of the things that I do is, whoever's laid down tracks already in our project, I actually listen to it 3 times before I even start laying my own track down, so that I can go in and follow along and go, okay, this is the pace that we're taking. This is, so when the pitch blows, because one of the songs was pitch blows, we're there. And so it was like, oh, I've got to breathe through the pitch rather than listen.
Right.
And then here we go. So it was kind of, you could tell that we had one that was like, all of our starts were like this. It was like karate chop starts. So it's going through and listening a couple of times just to see what the flow is like, so that it's easier for you to get in and make your track and not be like, okay, here we go.
Yeah,
You know,
so
that's
far the majority of the ones that I've done have been with a MIDI and not with a voice. So I need to go back and listen to other voices with the ones that I've done with the MIDI, or at least a voice, and then redo mine. I believe Beth has a question.
Well, just a comment. I was thinking you could probably put a scratch track in with a, okay, here we go, and start, that you could delete later.
Yes. Kind of like the pitch being its own
Yeah.
track.
Yeah, that's been helpful with the pit. It's been educational, lining it up with a MIDI. And of course, you know, MIDI is set exactly to what the music is written, and we don't always sing exactly what the music is written as far as tempo and that kind of thing. So that's been an interesting education, and it's an interesting learning experience to see. For example, there's just one simple little tag. I say simple. There's one custom tag that we've been working on, and maybe once we pay for it, we will release it as an a cappella track. But it's been really interesting because singing it with the MIDI, which is the MIDI itself is exceptional, but then you realize how much you rely on, just like Connie was saying, you rely on those visual cues of the people standing with you in the same room, and both, how you interpret it and all of that. So it's an interesting, what's the word I'm looking for? Just progression. Yeah, it's interesting to see the progression, and I don't know, I never really paid much attention to that before, I guess, and just kind of took it for granted. But when you can't actually be in the same room together, and you can only hear the results of it, it's an interesting evolution to witness in that way.
So Michelle asked on Facebook, does Melody always lay down the lead track first so that she sets the interp plan? We're actually working on some new music that Melody doesn't have the melody of the song. So either the rhythm person or the melody person, whoever that happens to be in that song, is the one that's kind of starting. It depends on the song you're singing. I think it would be easiest if the melody singer put down the interp first. But like I said, we've got some rhythm-driven songs we're working on, and that person may need to lay down their track first, and everybody fits their part on top of the rhythm. So it may depend on your music.
Which happens to be Melody.
What?
I said, which happens to be Melody.
Well, in one case, it was the rhythm stuff. I'm doing the rhythm part, but I don't have the melody. And Lindsay actually has the melodies. But because mine's the rhythm part, it was easier to lay that down first and then kind of build from there. So it still all revolves around the lead, is the moral of that story. Leads, don't let them tell you different. I'm just saying. What else?
Thank you guys for joining us. We are so thrilled that you spent your evening with us. We hope this was helpful. Again, if you think of questions later, reach out, but we'll make all of this information available, recording, and we'll get it out there for you. So hope it's helpful.
And if you learn something and you want to share it with us too.
Yeah, by all means, please, yes, share it to our Facebook page. But we will have this once we get the recording set up and everything. Give us a couple of days, and we'll have the recorded version of this class on our YouTube channel, and Holly will save the PowerPoint as a PDF, and have that available on our website. And again, any questions that you have, any comments, anything that you've learned, please contact us in Facebook. We'd love to hear from you. And we hope to actually get to face-to-face see everybody and, hug everybody very soon.
It was really great seeing everybody. And thanks to everybody on Facebook Live.
Yes.
Once I'll actually put the link to the YouTube on our website with the PDF linked underneath it, so you can access it at the same time.
Perfect. Cool. Awesome. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye.